Howdy, Rare Athletes, and welcome to this week's edition of Rare's Amazing Piece of Content. Let me ask you something. How do you actually accomplish your New Year's resolutions? So, this year, again, I set New Year's resolutions this year, and by the second week of January, had already fallen off. Again. Can you relate? So, how do you actually accomplish your New Year's resolutions? Did you find yourself declaring one of these resolutions before the clock struck midnight this year? So, number one, I'm going to get healthier this year. Number two, I'm going to get more exercise this year. Number three, I'm going to make more money this year. Four, I'm going to sleep more this year. And number five, I'm going to read more this year. According to a YouGov poll, these are the five most common aspirations for the coming year in the United States. And almost 1/3 of people, they don't make any resolutions at all. So, what I want to go over with you guys today is how do you actually accomplish your New Year's resolutions? What are the three biggest roadblocks and how to overcome them? So, roadblock number one, setting overly ambitious goals. Most people shoot too high, right? Shoot for the moon. So, let's say your example is this. You want to get to the gym 3 times a week this year, right? Consistently. 3 times a week. How likely is that going to happen for you that you're going to double that next year? Meaning, if you make it 3 times a week this year, that next year you're going to be able to go 6 times per year. Yeah, you're probably thinking, that would be a challenge. Exactly. One of those other top 5 goals is to read more. Let's say this year you have a goal to read 20 new books. If you accomplish that, do you think the next year you're going to be able to read 40 books? Are you actually going to be able to double that in the following year? According to author Norman Peale, he said, shoot for the moon. If you miss, you land among the stars. Have you heard that quote? Amazing quote. I highly doubt, though, he meant in that, always set goals that you're almost certain not to attain. I don't think he meant that going forward with that. So, according to Gary Keller as well, Gary Keller of Keller Williams Real Estate, he also wrote the One Thing book. He said in this book, the book is written on this, Creating Habits, but what's the one thing I can do this week that'll make everything else easier or unnecessary? And when Gary Keller found that, he had huge success when he narrowed his focus and his concentration. So meaning, narrow your focus and concentration on one goal. So, I'm going to end with this with priority number one, or roadblock number one. Overly ambitious goals. Set a goal, not too overly ambitious, something you can attain, and then focus, make sure you're working towards it every day. So think big, but act small every single day. One of my favorite quotes is, how to eat an elephant, one small bite at a time. Let's go over roadblock number two. Roadblock number two, lack of clarity. Great to get organized this year, but what does that actually mean? So one of your goals, you want to get organized. Hey, that's great. That's amazing for you, okay? So let's go over this. According to a Forbes article, David Newman of Do It Again Marketing, he plans to get organized this year. So his steps are this. No piles in his office. He's going to get files weeded out and current. And then 3, he wants no landing zones for clutter to accumulate in his office. Hey, that's great. You can do it however you want. That works for David. You don't have to have exactly what David did. However, you might want to establish a well-defined plan of getting organized with what it means for you. So, lack of clarity. Get clear on what it means for you. Roadblock number 3, this may be the biggest of all. Make a reset instead of a resolution. What do we mean by that? According to a Huffington Post article, a disadvantage of resolutions is they have a start date, which tricks your brain that there's an end date. So, a lot of people, again, I'm going to do this for 30, 60, 90 days. I'm going to set a goal, January 1st, and then we fall off, right? So, a better way is think about having a reset about creating healthy habits. Let me give you an example here, guys. It's great and amazing if this year you want to lose 20 pounds and not put any on. That is a great goal. But think about it. How much do you think you're going to lose towards that 20 without putting on a half a pound or a pound back on. And what that does is, so you might say, I want to lose 20 pounds by, let's say, March 1st. You're going to be going down the road of losing weight, but hey, maybe on a weekend you had a cheat day. Maybe it was somebody's birthday, and whoops, you put back on a pound. Make a reset. That's okay. Don't beat yourself up. So setting that resolution's great, but set resets instead. Maybe you lose 8 pounds and then you put 1 back on. So now you're at 7. But you make a reset and get back on your goal and you start losing more weight. So the ride is always like this towards your goals. So this year, make resets instead of resolutions and see how that will help you. Whatever you decide to commit to, guys, be sure to use the energy of the new year to get started towards your goals. And remember, the biggest investment you can make in your health and well-being. 2018, you got this. Stay tuned for next month's episode of Rare's Amazing Piece of Content. See you guys.